Welcome back. Well, it was a long holiday to mark the Muslim Eid al-Fitr celebrations. During the Ramadan, some food prices expectedly went up. But how will the domestic agri-commodities fare after the Ramadan holiday? I'm being joined by a senior analyst at financial derivatives company, Opeyemi Oguntade. Hello, Opeyemi. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome back from your holiday. That was a long one for you.
Yes,
and I hope it's not a bad one anyway.
No, not at all.
I can see you're refreshed. Well, Ramadan is over. So what's the latest with agri-commodity prices?
Well, what we saw before the Ramadan, just right ahead of the Ramadan, was we saw tomato prices increased. And although generally during this period, it's expected that tomato prices will increase due to seasonal factors. But what we saw in the market this time around was traders were taking advantage of the upsurge in demand. But interestingly, looking at some other commodities like rice, we saw rice declined. And when speaking to some of our correspondents in the market, they alluded to the fact that the borders have opened up now, and as a result of the opening up of the border, there's an increase in supply of rice, so to speak. So that that factored into the decline in prices. But also, even speaking to other traders in the market, there's been a slowdown in the level at which they're increasing prices because there's a bit of consumer resistance in the market. So what we see, even though, looking at, inflation report as at last month, we've seen that food inflation declined marginally to about 19.27. But what we're seeing in the market still is that prices are still high, but there's a bit of consumer resistance that's kind of offsetting any form of increase in the market.
Now, aside from the Ramadan season, there's also the issue of the pests, which you talked to me about some time ago. Is that still a problem for tomato?
Well, right now, Tuta absoluta, it's been pretty quiet about Tuta absoluta. What we're seeing is more of seasonal factors. But even alluding to pests, what we're seeing in the market right now is that there's an armyworm invasion, and this tends to affect maize. So reading reports, we've seen that about 22 states out of 36 states have been affected by this armyworm invasion. As our last year, it started sometime last year in June, and we saw that it was affecting just the southwest region. But what we're seeing now is it's even spread to the northern region, and it's affecting our maize production. Now, Nigeria is the second largest producer of maize in Africa, and we know that we have a demand supply gap because our demand is somewhere around 10.5 million tons, while our supply is somewhere around 10.5 million tons, while our demand is about 15 million tons. So there's that space of 5 million which we have to import. Now, knowing that we still have to import, and then we're having this armyworm invasion, it affects the capacity that we can produce even more. And so far so good. There's been little or no help from the government in addressing this problem, and if it's not tapered soon enough, it would spread. Even 22 states have already been affected out of 36. So I think that's another that one has to look out for. And we know maize is used for a lot of commodities out there. Feed millers, they make use of maize for feed. We also have it for maize is used in producing biscuits, and even confectionaries as well make use of maize in making some of their products. So it's important that it is addressed soon enough before it escalates out of our hands.
Okay, that has to do with the low quality seeds you talked about in your report.
We also have a problem with low quality seeds in Nigeria, even though we have this agenda of being self-sufficient in producing food. But then when you have the issue of low quality seeds that are affecting the level of output you can produce, then food sufficiency is pretty much not likely to happen. So we import about, I think we have a demand of about 350,000 tons of seeds, and then we produce about 150 or thereabouts, so there's still that import gap. And even though in recent times we've seen some level of growth in the amount of seeding companies here in Nigeria from about 7 to 100 between space of about 5 years, we've seen significant growth there, but there's still lots of outdoor treated seeds in the market, and that's affecting the quality of outputs we're seeing in the commodities segment.
All right, there's this peculiar issue at the ports where manufacturers or importers are unable to get their goods out of the ports. Do you see that having any significant impact on domestic prices, particularly when it comes to food prices?
Okay, so speaking about what's happening with the ports, we're looking more at imported commodities. So commodities such as wheat that flour millers import to produce refined wheat, and what we could see there is that it could affect the supplier's delivery time. So if you have scheduled to receive a particular event at a particular point, but because of traffic congestion or dilapidated port facilities, you're unable to receive it on time, then that would affect your supplier's delivery time. And you could also have an issue of in terms of pricing. It could affect pricing if you have delays in your inventory level coming in. Although in recent times we've seen the PMI has been improving significantly, and we're hoping that much of the talk that's been going around about the traffic congestion and sorting out that road, we hope that the government will deliver on its promises.
Okay, just a quick one before I let you go. Do you think next week is going to make any difference, the commodity space, domestic agri-commodity?
For domestic commodities right now, prices are likely to remain relatively flat. We don't see any highlights, so to speak, that would lead to a change in prices.
All right. Thank you very much, Obayemi, for your time.
Thank you.
Obayemi Oguntade is a senior analyst with Financial Derivatives Company here in Lagos.